Hi everyone, welcome back to another project review. Today we changed the landscape a bit. So we are actually in a show flat because we're going to talk about this upcoming launch, or rather this launch that has already started in the Upper Bukit Timah area, which is called The Sand. So we have actually picked out three very questionable or very interesting pointers that we felt that it doesn't make sense. So that's why we said three things at The Sand that doesn't make sense. Okay, the first is the land bid price. So the land bid that the developers got for this land is ridiculously crazy, which translates to a very attractive starting price in comparison with both neighboring projects as well as the new launches in the city fringe area as well. Okay, number two, whether properties around MRTs usually perform better, or is this a case whereby we can actually debunk the myth? So the last thing that doesn't make sense is the floor plans, because the developer is bringing back floor plans that we saw more than 10-20 years ago. And why are they bringing back these floor plans again? So without much further ado, let's jump right in. So just very brief project information. The developer sustained land on BCA's Concourse banding. They are actually band number 1. So the build quality should be quite okay. So some of the projects that the developer has done includes One Mayor, Sky Everton, as well as Coastline Residences. Then we go to the project overview. We have a total of 347 units and 100% car park provision. So this will be something that maybe on-state buyers want to keep a lookout for, because we are not very close by to the MRT station and the developer is not providing any form of shuttle bus service. So that's why it's important to have a 100% car park provision. Site map, I'll go through very quickly all these preliminary details. So you notice there are a total of 5 blocks, out of which 2 are the premium blocks. So that is 224 and 226. These are the bigger bedroom types, which is the 3 plus study and 4 plus study. So what is the benefit of having the bigger bedroom types only in a single block? Is that you notice in the rest of the blocks whereby they have up to 9 units per floor, they are able to fit even 2 bedders at the corner. And the more interesting one will be the one bedroom. So that means this one bedroom get windows not just in your bath, but also in your kitchen. Similar to the 2 bedrooms as well. For certain layouts, you get windows in both bathrooms plus the kitchen. These are the floor plans like I was sharing earlier. Windows in the master bath, windows in the kitchen for 1 bedroom. This specific layout 670, there are a couple. This one does not come with natural ventilation in the bathroom, and it's more of a galley kitchen. However, this 2 bedroom comes with windows in both bathrooms as well as the kitchen. There are a couple of other layouts in between, but I actually excluded them because they are quite normal, quite standard. But what I wanted to highlight is the 3 plus study and the 4 plus study. So over at the show flat, our 3 bedroom show flat type is 1109. But what I wanted to highlight is the 1259 square feet, which is very similar to the 4 plus study. Hey, you have a very wide frontage of about 5 meters. Okay, landscape, living, dining. Okay, all the bedrooms are ensuite. Of course, your master will have their own master bath as well. You have a very decent study that can fit a single plus a study table. Comes with aircon in the side room as well. But more interestingly, you have a powder room for your guests. So that means all the bedrooms are ensuite. Everyone has their own bath, including the guests. You don't even have to have the guests use one of the common bathrooms. So this is the beauty of the 3 plus study. And in comparison to the 4 plus study, the only difference is that they added another junior ensuite over here. Again, all bedrooms are ensuite. So bedrooms 2 and 3, they share bath too. His study, you can actually use the powder room together with your guests. Junior ensuite, don't share your bath. Master, of course, you don't share a bath, and you have a his and her sink. Okay, the living room frontage stands at about 5.8 meters, and this is actually extremely wide. You can even choose to shift your dining outside into the balcony. So what is the significance of all these layouts? It's actually the third point which I will actually be talking about, is why the developer bring in layouts that we've seen 20 over years ago. Okay, so but I'll touch on the first one first, which is nonsense number 1, is the ridiculous land price. Okay, this translates to ridiculous starting launch prices as well. Okay, so if we actually take a look at the land bid price, in general, the previous projects around this area, Dane 3 Verdale, you see that the trend is actually upwards. And then towards reserve residences, which is an integrated, it jumps up to about 1,006 per plot ratio. PSF per plot ratio. But back to 2024, the Sand land bid price actually dropped to way below what Dane 3 land bid price was. And what does this actually mean? So if you take a look at the recent GLS, the Sand is only less than 10% higher than your EC land bid prices. So this puts you in a very, very safe position, in the sense that when you're entering today into the Sand, you're entering prices that are going to be very close to EC prices. So I'll actually show you what is the significance of entering the new launch project that is priced very similarly to an EC. One example is Treasure at Tampines versus Park Central. Okay, so for those who are familiar with the performance at Treasure at Tampines, even though they are not close to the MRT, the performance is actually exceedingly well. If you compare to the rest of the other land bids, we are up to 70% cheaper. The Sand was bidded in 2024. You will notice that there are only 2 projects that are cheaper than Sand. Number 1 is in Tengah. Number 2 is in Canberra. Even places like Faber and Springleaf, their land bid prices are even more expensive than the Sand. Moving forward, other OCR launches such as Lakeside 1001, okay, Dairy Farm 1000, we have Bayshore 1003, and of course Chuan Grove 1003 as well. So moving forward, even the OCR land bid prices are going to be more expensive than Sand, which is an RCR project located around the Upper Bukit Timah area. And why is this so? Last video, when we talk about the project comparisons, we shared with you that developers are aggressively trying to get new land, refill their land banks, because from 2029 onwards, you will notice that there is a significant dip in the number of units available in the market. So which is why the developers are currently very aggressive. Of course, the upcoming launches, given the land bid price, base shop will do about 2,009 to 3,000. Trunk Grove similarly 2,009 to 3,000 as well for OCR projects. So we talk about how the land bid price is ridiculous, and what does this mean for buyers? It also means a ridiculous starting from prices. Yes, although these are starting from prices, but we don't expect the average price to deviate very significantly, given that this is only a 10-story project. So our one bedroom starts from 2,002 per square foot, and of course the bigger bedroom type is about 2,003 per square foot. What is the significance of this is that if we take a look at the OCR new launch average, we are super close to the average for outskirts property. So we are not even comparing with some of the OCR projects that launched earlier this year, such as Alta, which was an average about 2.5 PSF. Okay, Chuan Park was also 2.5, and then we have Tampines Integrated, which was 2.360. This is Parktown. Okay, so now we are City Fringe. Comparing to City Fringe projects that are 2007, we are only 2.3. So this is ridiculous in the sense that you won't ever find another City Fringe project that's going to launch at this kind of PSF anymore. Even if we were to compare our surrounding neighbors, so I took out projects within 1 km to the sand. Hey, I only highlighted 2 projects, which are Daintree and Verdale, because these are the newer properties and they are the only properties that are 99-year lease. So if you take a look at the average transaction, hey, they do about 2,000 up to 2,002 per square foot for resale properties. If I were to really compare, even Forret, okay, it's 2,000 up to 2,005, but of course this is freehold. Again, if you're buying something for investment, not for legacy planning, then freehold doesn't really make sense as well. So today, these prices are ridiculous comparing with our neighbors in the RCR region, comparing with our neighbors in the 1 km vicinity as well. Hey, nonsense number 2 is that we are always engineered to think that properties closer to the MRT or near to the MRT will yield you better returns, but not necessarily. And why is this so? So let's take a look at some examples. I actually put out the profitability of projects that are close to MRT versus projects that are not close to MRT. So on the left, these projects are definitely not within walking distance to MRT, but they see an average, okay, this is the highest profitability of close to 700, 800, 760, 720. Whereas properties that are very close to the MRT within 5 minutes walk, you notice that the profitability is very pitiful, given that they are close to the MRT. Okay, if I were to give you exact numbers, okay, for that freehold project, usually freehold the annualization should be lower, okay, but yet not close to MRT, they do about 5 to 6%. Our neighbor Daintree Residences also average about 5%, not close to the MRT. Okay, but projects like Mayfair Gardens, you notice average 2%. 4th Avenue Residences, we even have unprofitable transactions. Okay, so why is this so? This graph actually shows you very carefully 2 projects. One, the Minton, which is not close to the MRT, and Bartley Residences, which is right beside Bartley MRT station. If you notice, in the last 10 years, the growth record for Bartley Residences was only 34%, whereas for the Minton is 54%. And one main reason is really the price gap that you are paying for a project that's close to the MRT. So this is the significance of why, if you're looking for something for investment, being close to MRT might not necessarily be the most, might not necessarily yield you the best results. So far, if you're enjoying what you've just seen, and if you like all the numbers that we put together, do help us to like, share, and subscribe so that this will actually motivate us to do more similar content in future as well. Okay, moving on to nonsense number 3. Why is the developer bringing in layouts that are 20 years old, 15 over years old? Okay, for example, if we take a look at a project that TOP in 2003, that is more than 20 years ago. Summer Hill, 88 square meters or 947 square feet. You notice what they have is windows in the bath and windows in the kitchen as well. This is the same as what we have at the Sand, although smaller. So the Sand, similarly, we have windows in both bathrooms as well as kitchen. But if you really were to zoom in, what is the main difference? I would say it's really the study that you get at Summer Hill, which is about 6 square meters. Okay, the common bedroom, even though 9 square meters, you can only fit a single size bed. Okay, you have an additional yard, okay, but inside the Sand we don't. Bigger living dining area, that's about it. If I were to actually break down the unit sizes, okay, the usable space without the study, inclusive of the aircon latch, is very close to what we have at the Sand, which is about 63 square meters versus 67 square meters. Okay, even at Tannery, at Bukit Timah, which is very close to the Sand, here we have a 2-bedroom that's 990 square feet, windows in the bath, windows in the kitchen as well. Okay, but 990 square feet includes a super huge balcony, planter box in your master, bay window, and of course aircon latch. If I were to really break down the sizes, so what I did is aircon latch is usually 5 square meters. Okay, planter box, if I add up this, maybe I say it's another 5 square meters, although it's definitely larger. What I did for this balcony was I copied this shaded area, I put into the master, it's about 13 square meters. Okay, but I water it down. So total this wasted space as included in the square footage is 20 square meters. So if I were to minus 20 square meters, we are looking at 72 square meters, which is again very close to a harmless project at the sand. Okay, although again, where is the size going into for this project is of course a slightly bigger living area and of course a dry kitchen outside the dining area. So if I were to actually take out these small areas, the layout is practically the same. Okay, so the most recent project that we saw these layouts being brought back was in Jadescape. If I bring you back to earlier projects in terms of the profitability, in general, okay, 2 bedrooms, they always see an annualization of about 200,000, 268, 258, normal, okay? But why Jadescape is able to do 360, 100,000 more for the 2 bedrooms? It's not because of school, because later I'll show you a project that's 1 km to school, but their 2 bedrooms are also around 200 plus K profits. But really because of the layout at Jadescape. Windows in both bathroom, windows in kitchen, enclosed as well. If I were to show you the profitability Jadescape, I saw according to 775 square feet, these are the track record up to 500,000 profit for 2 bedrooms. And yes, some buyers might say, hey, Jadescape, you got 1 km to Cat High. But if I show you Whistler Grand is 1 km to Nanhua, but same thing, they only do about 200 over 1,000 in terms of profit because their layout is a very typical, very normal standard layout. The school factor can only push you to a certain extent, but the layout will take you to a whole new level in terms of profitability. Even for Jadescape 4 bedroom, it's very similar to our 4 plus study. Again, a very wide frontage landscape living dining. We have a dry kitchen outside. Okay, the bedrooms, technically you can make it ensuite. Okay, but this is the one that I want to touch on. Powder room plus a walk-in wardrobe in the master is exactly the same as our 4 plus study and 3 plus study at the SAM. And this layout at the Jadescape actually yield up to 1.1 million in terms of profitability. So this again is a very good opportunity for buyers who are looking for own stay, you value space, yet at the same time in future when you want to sell, you don't have to worry that, hey, will I end up like other properties around this Upper Bukit Timah area that are very hard to sell? Definitely based on transaction, based on track record, based on the factors that we have seen in good performing projects, this will not be the case. So that's it. So these are the 3 things that we find that it doesn't make sense at the sand, but it's a good thing for potential buyers who are looking into this project. So once again, if you like what you just saw, please help us to like, share and subscribe. And if you have any questions or haven't seen the show flat, please reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to go through the full in-depth analysis on this project and what is your potential exit strategy. Lastly, if you haven't already, do subscribe to our SG Property Lobang channel where we'll be updating constantly on the latest launches, latest land bid prices, and more importantly, what you guys love is fire sales. So once again, this is Dexter. I hope you have enjoyed this episode and I'll catch you in the next episode. See you.